Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 16th of February. Good to have you aboard. Part of the Believe Podcast Network, presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. Got a fun show planned today. We did it, everybody. We made it to the end of the week. We made it to Friday. We are here. You're going to listen to ZASLOW Show 2.0, and then your weekend officially begins. That's how it happens. And of course, even though football's over, Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs. That includes pro and college hoops throughout the year, up to the minute odds, stats, trends. You can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. So here's what we got coming up today. First of all, if you want some betting picks for tonight, for the weekend, head on over to youtube.com/@drivingtheline. I was on with my guys, Jonathan Coachman, Alan Bell this morning. Did the last 2 mornings with them. I'm on every Monday. Matter of fact, this coming Monday, Coach is out because he's doing the PGA Tour, the Genesis tournament with Tiger Woods this weekend. So I'll actually be hosting Driving the Line on Monday. But if you want the picks every day, those guys are live. youtube.com/@drivingtheline every morning, 10 a.m. right there on the YouTube channel. You can go back and watch today's episode, which of course I was on today. So go check that out. You're getting all the betting tips from our guy Jonathan Coachman and Alan Bell. And like I said, I'm on with those guys a lot. So go check it out. Today, of course, was fun as always. That's how we got the day started. Last night was on ESPN Radio with Top Girl Amber Wilson. Had a great show. Back on ESPN Radio tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. actually on ESPN Radio, doing an NBA All-Star preview show leading up to all the All-Star Saturday night festivities. So that will be a lot of fun tomorrow night. And then, of course, doing Sunday afternoon, ESPN Radio Game Day. So action-packed weekend. We're going to help get you started here today. It's Friday, which means, hey, you're probably saying, ZASLOW, are you going to tell us what the big games are and the not big games? Of course. And you know what we're also going to do today? We're going to bring back big movie or not a big movie. Got a few of those for you ass here on a Friday. So we'll get to that, of course. But let's start out with what happened last night. All right. The big story last night, we'll actually get to that in a moment, but a couple of NBA notes. So the Bucks lose last night against the Grizzlies, 113-110. Bucks were full strength. Grizzlies stink. I mean, we saw the Grizzlies beat the Heat when the Heat were going through that 7-game losing skid. This Grizzly team is awful. And the Bucks lose 113-110. The Bucks go into the All-Star break this weekend with Doc Rivers as the head coach of the Eastern Conference All-Stars. But don't worry, he's going to give some of the prize money, and I guess they give out a ring. He's going to mail it FedEx overnight to Adrian Griffin. That'll help Adrian Griffin feel all better about it. This Doc Rivers is 3-7 going into the All-Star break as coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. They were 30-13 with Adrian Griffin. 3-7 with Doc Rivers pulling his grift on the Milwaukee Bucks, and he will coach the Eastern Conference All-Stars. What a joke. And in typical Doc Rivers fashion, last night after the game, quote, some guys were already in Cabo. It's never Doc Rivers' fault. He'll always throw his team under the bus. He'll come up with excuses, schedule, hotel, airplane, food didn't taste good. Guys are preparing for Cabo. You're going up against... The Milwaukee Bucks are supposed to be a championship contending team, and you're losing to the Grizzlies. It's one thing to lose to the Grizzlies last game before the All-Star break, and you want to pull some guys were already in Cabo. Doc, you're 3-7 as head coach of what's supposed to be a championship team. They were 30-13 when you took over. They're 3-7 underneath you. I think it's a little bit more than maybe take that game away. Then they're 3-6 before they started preparing for Cabo. This Doc Rivers is terrible. I've been telling you forever. And now, it really seems like this season for the Bucks, this is going to be a lost season for them. And I don't know what they're going to do going forward because they're not beating anyone in the East. They are first round and done. Some guys were already in Cabo. It's nothing but excuses from Doc Rivers. So I liked seeing that, of course. Bad look for Damian Lillard also. I mean, and we know he wanted to come to the Heat, but at the same time, you know, we've been through this before. I'm not rehashing it. If the Heat were to give up Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Jovic, and/or Jaquez Jr. for Damian Lillard, do you think that's a good deal for the Heat? I don't. So I'm not doing that show again. The Warriors last night, 140-137 over the Jazz. Oh, it was a killer. We had the Jazz +2. You saw me give those picks on Driving the Line yesterday. Had the Jazz +2 with like 2 seconds left. The Jazz have the ball underneath the basket, down by 1. John Collins launches the ball. It's the 8th row. Steph Curry hits a pair of free throws. Warriors cover. What a killer. The big story there, Klay Thompson, off the bench for the first time since his rookie year, had 35 points. So, excellent job there out of the Warriors. I gotta raise my hand. I've been down on the Warriors. Excellent job out of them, bouncing back from a tough loss the night before at home against the Clippers. And Klay Thompson with 35 off the bench, coming off of a boneheaded play at the end of the game to contribute to the loss against the Clippers. Now, the main story from last night, and we actually let off Amber and Ian with it last night. The main story from last night, Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you as if I'm keeping track of everything going on with Caitlin Clark and Iowa women's basketball. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I care about women's basketball. Make me watch the WNBA. I'll never do that. I don't think it's a good product. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you how great it is. But I will tell you how great Caitlin Clark is. And last night, if there was ever an example of how amazing she is, because she didn't just break the record last night. She needed 8 points to pass Kelsey Plum's all-time record. Not only did she break the record last night, she did it while being a showman. She put on a show last night. So she breaks the record for the 8th point by pulling up in transition from just about the logo, fading left and burying a crazy 3. And on top of it, an Iowa basketball record, 49 points. She is a show. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I care about women's basketball and that I follow along with women's college basketball or WNBA for that matter. But I will tell you, Caitlin Clark is very exciting. And she is absolutely the face, not of women's college basketball. She's the face of college basketball. Here was the record breaker. It was a crazy shot. She pulls up, fading to her left. I mean, the net barely moved. It was a perfect looking shot. It was from so far out. She is a show. And that's why I think it's important to acknowledge, even though I'm not a women's basketball fan, I'm certainly not a WNBA fan, and I don't pay attention. But she is special. There's something different about her. And she put on a show. She is the face of college basketball. Because think about it. If I stop you and I say, name me the biggest star in college basketball right now on the women's side, everybody says Caitlin Clark. Even someone who doesn't follow, like me, Caitlin Clark. On the men's side, who's the face of men's college basketball? I don't know. And this is why she is the face of college basketball, period. And this is a big deal. This is something I've talked about for years, and it's a problem. It's a problem that's affected the NBA because when I was growing up, you had the basketball players staying in school for 3, usually 4 years. And so this has a twofold effect. First part is This way, when a player goes to the NBA and he's selected at the top of the draft, he's ready to turn your franchise around right away. He's been seasoned. He's been in school 3 or 4 years. When a terrible Knicks team selects Patrick Ewing, they're immediately going to be great. When the San Antonio Spurs, and I understand Robinson was hurt the year before, but Tim Duncan spent 4 years at Wake Forest. Shaquille O'Neal, when Shaq comes out of school at LSU, he's drafted by Orlando. The Magic were terrible, and then they were immediately a 500 team. They missed the playoffs, but they were immediately a 500 team in Shaq's rookie year. Now, you got guys picked atop the draft. I mean, look at Scoot Henderson. Now, he's starting to come along, but the Blazers are awful. If Scoot Henderson, I know he's a G League guy, but if someone like Scoot Henderson was in school for 4 years, then when the Blazers select him at the top of the draft, the Blazers are instantly going to be a lot better. It's not going to be up to the Blazers or whatever NBA team to groom this 18 or 19-year-old kid. The college does that, and then the NBA team selects him at the beginning of the draft, and they're immediately turning their franchise around. That's the number one effect. The second effect is how much it hurts the collegiate game. Because the players, the good players, are all one and done. We don't know these players. Matter of fact, we're learning anything about them when we start tuning in the tournament. When I was growing up, we all knew who Christian Laettner was. The entire country knew who Christian Laettner was. These kids would stay in school the whole time. You knew a bunch of the players. You knew the star players, or at least the top 2 or 3 players on each of the great teams on the Blue Bloods. And we don't get that anymore. And that has hurt the college basketball game in a very big way. It's rendered the regular season meaningless because you can't identify any of the players. You don't know the players. But Caitlin Clark, she's been there for 4 years. And for the past couple of years, she's been doing this. And so that's why she's the face of college basketball. We all know who she is because her college basketball experience is the way it used to be for the great men's college basketball players. It's not like that anymore. But Caitlin, we all know who she is. We've gotten to watch her over these last few years. And that's why, without question, Caitlin Clark is the face of college basketball. So last night, she was amazing. Really cool stuff. And it wasn't just beating the record. You know, when she was about to pass the record, she wasn't about to drive to the basket, get fouled, get to the free throw line, and break the record. No, she was going to do it the way that she knows how. And that's by putting on a major show. And that's exactly what she did last night. So that was the biggest story of anything that happened last night. Really cool. Now, from a local perspective, you know how I was enjoying last night after I got done with Amber and Ian hosting with the homegirl Amber Wilson. I sat on the couch, cracked open a Johnny, enjoyed the rest of my evening. That's right, Johnny Cuba, official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. You can go pick up a Johnny for your weekend, your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. You always drink responsibly when you're drinking in your home. That's why I love keeping a 6-pack of Johnny in my fridge. So I'm always getting tranquilo. That's right. Make sure you always drink responsibly. And don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So, I was also fired up last night. Florida Panthers are so good. Oh my God. They are so good. So the night before, they kicked the crap out of the Penguins on national TV 5-2. And then the second night of a back-to-back, they go into Buffalo. Buffalo kind of stinks, but they go into Buffalo, a dominant 4-0 win. 7th career shutout for Anthony Stolarz, and 43 saves, third most saves in a shutout for a goaltender in Panthers history. It belongs to Anthony Stolarz. I mean, how about that? Great performance from him. Let's get after it here. It was it was late in the first period, and it was 0-0. And then Carter Verhaeghe, beautiful pass from the captain.
In the Panthers blue line with speed. They're having to either chip it in or...
Barkov the steal, Verhaeghe scores! There's that deadly forecheck by the Cats, creating the first goal of the game. 27th of the season for Verhaeghe.
Yeah, the Sunrise Assassin. He strikes first here in Buffalo, and it's no surprise. The amount of goals, 19th goal on the road for Carter Verhaeghe.
27th goal of the season for Verhaeghe. Obviously, amazing pass. Giveaway. You heard Golgi there. Great forecheck. That's hockey lingo. Great forecheck from Barkov there. Leads to the first goal of the game. 1-0 Panthers. Then in the second period, the Panthers make it 2-0 with a beautiful redirection.
It's a penalty on the Sabres again. Stolarz getting to the bench. Forsling waiting for the extra man. It's Tkachuk right off the bench. Shooting score! On a delayed penalty, Tkachuk hopped over the boards, and it's 2-0 Panthers.
That didn't take very long. Stolarz, he just sprinted to the Panther bench when the delayed penalty was going to be called, and Tkachuk jumps on the ice, and he sees daylight. Sees Lundell in the front of the net. Look at how he just whips it. It goes off of Lundell. I believe that's Lundell's goal.
Lundell, I think it's his 7th goal this season, but 3 goals in the last 2 games. Excellent job there. He did get a piece of it. The Panthers late in the third period, about 3.5 minutes left. They're up 2-0. Carter Verhaeghe, he gets his 2nd goal of the game. An empty netter makes it 3-0. And one of my big plays yesterday on driving the line yesterday was Sam Reinhart over half a goal. So Sam Reinhart to score, plus 115. They had a 2-on-1 with the empty net. Reinhart could have shot it. He passed it to Verhaeghe. Oh, killing me. That makes it 3-0. And you know what? Just for good measure, the Lamborghini, he cashed in.
Will become a big story in the Panthers' overall success.
Forsling shoots, save, rebound, score! It's Ryan Lomberg! The power play goal for Lomberg, and look at that bench. They love it for number 94. He's got some words for the Sabre bench.
Yeah, there's little meat and potatoes right there. The Panthers put Lomberg on the ice. Panthers have this game intact, so they win the draw, and Forsling just throws it on goal. There's the first deflection. Lomberg makes the save, but then Lomberg, look at how he's got the position inside the defense and jams it home.
So the Panthers win 4-0, and how about this? When you pull up the app ESPN, NHL, and you click on the standings for the Eastern Conference, you see the Florida Panthers, and you see everybody below them. That's right. First place Panthers, number 1 now in the Eastern Conference. Who gives a shit about the Boston Bruins? They're looking up at us. First place Florida Panthers. This team is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you get the weekend started. With the Panthers, they're red hot, and now finally, first place in the East. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Love that team. I mean, look at that right there. That's Matthew Tkachuk on my wall right over my left shoulder. Come on. So the Panthers, they get that W last night. Love it. All right, everybody calm down. So, no Heat basketball. We got the All-Star festivities and all of that starting this weekend. Panthers, I'm not going to tell you if the Panthers are in big game, not a big game. I don't want to spoil it for you, all right? They're playing this weekend. They're playing again tomorrow. But I'm not going to spoil it. And look, wrestling tonight. I'm not going to spoil whether or not that is in big game or not a big game, all right? I don't want to do spoilers here. Maybe it's a prediction. I could imagine. You know what I want to tell you? So we have big movie, not a big movie coming up. We're going to go over a few movies that are out this weekend or came out on Valentine's Day this week, last couple of days. I watched a movie a couple of days ago I wanted to mention called, I think it's a few years old, called Triple Frontier. You ever hear this movie, Triple Frontier? It's with great cast. Oscar Isaac, Ben Affleck, Pedro Pascal, Charlie Hunnam. I love Charlie Hunnam. I'll watch anything he does. Where these guys are, they're military guys, and it turns into a heist movie where they go into Brazil and they want to take out this terrorist guy who's running Brazil and also steal all his money. So it's obviously a criminal act because it's not the military that's sending them. They're teaming up. So it's a heist movie. And they got it. They want to go kill the guy. They want to steal all of his money, take care of their families, and they got to make it out of the jungle in Brazil and get back home intact and with all of the money. I don't know why I'd never seen this movie. I loved it. That's a big movie right there. Have you ever seen that movie, Triple Frontier? And I'll tell you, I don't know what's wrong with me. I had such agita watching this movie. When they broke into the guy's home, I'm not going to give you spoilers. When they broke into the guy's home, and, they're trying to get the money, or they're trying to kill him, or they're trying to get out of it, I had agita. I was rooting so hard for them to get out. I don't know, there's something wrong with me. So I really dug that movie. I've been digging these military, war movies recently. Last month when we went to Park City, I don't know if I told you guys this. I don't know if I discussed it. But on the way to Park City to Utah last month, I watched on the plane the movie The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal. That movie's fucking awesome. I love that movie. That was one of those movies where it's that movie, it was out a year or two ago where he's in the military and he's the lieutenant or captain, whatever they call him. And they have an interpreter because they're in Afghanistan probably. And he's got an interpreter to help him speak the language. It's a local guy, and they hire these guys to be interpreters, and they pay them. They're not part of the military. But that guy ends up getting captured while he saved Jake Gyllenhaal's life. So Jake Gyllenhaal, he wants to go back on his own and save the guy and his family and get him out of there. And I was cheering at the end of that movie. I loved that movie, The Covenant. So I'm way into lately these military-type movies. So they're going on missions and trying to do awesome stuff. So go check that out. All right, you know what time it is. You're probably thinking to yourself, Zaslow, it's enough already. I gotta know. Is it a big game or is it not a big game? Big game or not a big game, you know how we do every Friday. I tell you if it's a big game or not a big game. It's not complicated. Here's what we got. First up, tonight, 8 p.m., Fox, WWE SmackDown. Now, this is a huge episode of SmackDown. Why? Well, rewind a little more than a week ago. During Super Bowl week, you had the WrestleMania kickoff press conference in Vegas where The Rock slapped Cody Rhodes, smacked his ass. And we got Bloodline Rock. Rock and Roman are together. Well, on Monday night, we heard from Seth Rollins, the world champion. We heard from Cody Rhodes. We have yet to hear again from The Rock and Roman Reigns. Well, they're advertised on SmackDown tonight. So The Rock and Roman Reigns are on SmackDown tonight. You don't need me to tell you anything else. WWE SmackDown, that's a big game. This is an episode of SmackDown we probably got to watch live. I don't always watch live. I watched Monday night live. I'm probably going to watch tonight live. I mean, The Rock and Roman Reigns in the ring together. They hate Cody. They hate Seth Rollins. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't wait to see what's going to happen tonight. Are we going to get The Rock fighting at WrestleMania? Are we going to get a tag match? Is he still going to fight Roman? I don't know. That's why I got to watch. I can't predict the future. All right. Tonight, 9 p.m., TNT. NBA Rising Stars Challenge. Now, I assume Jaime Jaquez Jr. is participating in this. This is when you get the rookie game. The first-year guys versus the second-year guys. I got to be perfectly honest here. This is not a big game. I can't get into it. They got the celebrity game is on right before it. I didn't even include the celebrity game here. I can't get into NBA All-Star Friday night. Saturday night's a different story. Friday night, not a big game. Not for me. All right. Saturday, 5 p.m., Bally Sports, Florida. Your Florida Panthers at the Tampa Bay Lightning. I was having a conversation with my son the other day. My younger son, Jordan, loves looking at the standings. Loves the Panthers and loves looking at the standings. And I showed him, right now, because Panthers are in first place now, so the Panthers would actually play the second wild card team if the postseason started today. Because right now, the Panthers have the most points in the East. Not most points in the entire National Hockey League, President's Trophy, but they're first in the East, so they would play the second wild card team, which right now is Detroit. But when I had this conversation with my son the other day, And the Panthers were second in the Atlantic. That means they will play the Lightning in the first round because 2 plays 3 in the division. And my son was like, oh, we don't want to play the Lightning. I'm like, hell yeah, we want to play the Lightning. We got to exercise those demons. That's part of winning the Stanley Cup. You got to go through your big rival. And the Panthers fell short of the Stanley Cup last year, and they didn't face the Lightning in the playoffs. They faced them the previous 2 years. I want to play them this year. That's part of winning the Stanley Cup. We got to go through the Lightning. So yes, I do want to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the postseason. Tomorrow, though, Panthers at Lightning. That's a big game. That's how we're going to get the evening started at 5 p.m. The Panthers have won 10 consecutive road games. They're going to look for 11 straight tomorrow. You want to talk about a Stanley Cup contender? 10 straight road wins? Hate the Lightning. That's a big game. Saturday, 8 p.m., TNT. NBA All-Star Saturday night. So let's go through it here, right? They start things off here. NBA All-Star Saturday night, you have the skills competition. It's like Team Pau Gasol and Team Jalen Rose and Team Detlef Schrempf. I dig it. I like the skills competition. They throw the ball in the bucket and they got to race and dribble and hit a layup and hit a three. I dig the skills competition. So skills competition, that's a big game. All right. Also, NBA All-Star Saturday night, 3-point shootout. You got Jalen Brunson, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, Karl Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell, Lauri Markkanen. It's impressive. I'm doing this right off the top of my head, right? Malik Beasley. And I'm missing one guy. Who am I missing? Anyway, NBA All-Star 3-point shootout. Say what you want about the dunk contest. 3-point shootout is always awesome. And now, they got the wacky, the balls where you shoot it for like 3 points by the logo, and you got an entire rack that's money balls. The only thing I don't like about the 3-point shootout these days, they used to do it where it was 8 guys, and then 4 guys, and then 2. They don't do that anymore. Now it's 8, and then 3, and it's over. Do we have time restriction here? Why did we lose that middle round? Nonetheless, 3-point shootout, that's a big game. Now, how about this? Right after the 3-point shootouts, you have a one-on-one 3-point contest between Steph Curry and the WNBA's Sabrina Ionescu. I think this is what everyone's looking forward to the most. This is awesome that they're doing this. Now, they're both shooting from the NBA 3-point line, which is obviously an advantage for Curry, but Ionescu shoots behind the line in the WNBA all the time anyway. Now, what is an advantage for Ionescu is she's shooting with the WNBA ball. It's significantly smaller than the NBA ball. Ionescu is plus 176. I would play Sabrina Ionescu. You can't play Steph Curry. He's minus 220. It's too big of a number. So I would play Ionescu. I think everyone's going to be rooting for Sabrina Ionescu. That's a big game. I'm into that. I think that's going to be the most fun thing tomorrow night to see what happens there. And finally, All-Star Slam Dunk Contest. You got Jacob Toppin. I think you got Mac McClung. You got Jaylen Brown. You got Juan Wick. Jaime Jaquez Jr. I think Jaquez Jr. is going to win it. But the dunk contest is usually a letdown. I'm not interested in the dunk contest. I'm interested in what Jaime Jaquez Jr. does. But overall, I got a hard time being interested in the slam dunk. So I'm going not a big game. And we got one more for you here. Sunday night, 8 p.m., TNT. NBA All-Star Game back to East versus West. Now, I like that because I never can know who's on what team when they're picking the rosters. And they're picking it 20 minutes before the game starts. I don't know who's on which team. I know Bam is on the Eastern Conference. I know who's on the East. I know who's on the West. But the NBA All-Star Game has become a disgrace for really the last 7-8 years. And I don't expect this Sunday night to be any different. Plus, 8 p.m., really? 8 p.m., an All-Star game, NBA All-Star game, not a big game. It's usually an embarrassment. I expect it to be an embarrassment. NBA players don't try for regular season games. What do you expect on Sunday night? It's a very entitled group, today's NBA player. NBA All-Star game, not a big game. And that right there is another edition of big game or not a big game. You know what's always big? Making sure you get that sleep. That's why I sleep on Sheets and Giggles. That's right. SheetsGiggles.com, where you're going to get the softest, coolest, most breathable sheets around. You know what I'm talking about. Always great deals, too. My man Colin, the founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles, great promotions and sales. But if this is your first time trying out the bed sheets at SheetsGiggles.com, use promo code ZASLOW. Use promo code ZASLOW and you'll get 20% off checkout your first order when you go to SheetsGiggles.com. You need the bed sheets, the blankets, the fitted sheets, the pillowcases. I got a eucalyptus comforter. I got a eucalyptus pillow. If you need a new mattress, how about a eucalyptus mattress? You'll thank me later. Use promo code ZASLOW, Z-A-S-L-O-W, 20% off your first order, SheetsGiggles.com. The softest, coolest, most breathable sheets out there. You're not going to have to worry about where you're shopping for your sheets anymore because you're going to become one of over 100,000 Americans that are shopping at SheetsGiggles.com and never turning back. Promo code ZASLOW, 20% off your first order, SheetsGiggles.com. So, it's a little bit of a light schedule this weekend. So you may be saying to yourself, ZASLOW, I got to get in some family time. Is it a big movie? Or is it not a big movie? That's right. We all love going to the movies with our family, and this is a perfect weekend for that. Big movie or not a big movie? We haven't done it in a while. Let's get after it here. This movie is called No Way Up. That's right. It's in theaters. It's available on Prime Video and on Apple TV to rent or buy. How you love that? It's rated R. It's got bloody, grisly images. It also has language. It's an action movie, all right? It's out in theaters today. It stars nobody that you've heard of. Here's what it's about. Ava, the daughter of the governor of California, is hoping for a peaceful getaway with friends in the resort town of Cabo, Mexico. She'll probably run into the Milwaukee Bucks there with her faithful minder Brandon in tow. When the plane crashes in the Pacific Ocean and comes to rest on the edge of an underwater ravine, a handful of survivors are trapped in the airlocked cabin. Against the odds, Ava must fend for herself to contend with bloodthirsty sharks and find the courage to step up and lead the crash survivors to safety. This movie sounds right up my alley. No Way Up, media score on Rotten Tomatoes, 17%. Now, there's only a few reviews, though, but 17% is awfully low. No audience score yet. No Way Up. I'm going to go big movie. I think that sounds like a great popcorn movie. I like thrillers like that. I dig the plot. How about that for a swerve? 17% Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going big movie. Didn't see that coming. Big movie or not a big movie? This is called Bob Marley, One Love. Here's what it's about. Well, first of all, it's in theaters. Came out a couple days ago. Valentine's. It's rated PG-13. It's got smoking throughout. It's got marijuana use. It's got brief, strong language. It's got some violence. It's a biography. It stars Kingsley Ben-Adir, plays Bob Marley. Also, Lashana Lynch, she plays Binary and a variant of Marvel, Captain Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyway, nobody cares about me. So, here's what the movie's about. Bob Marley, One Love, celebrates the life and music of an icon who inspired generations through his message of love and unity. On the big screen for the first time, discover Bob's powerful story of overcoming adversity and the journey behind his revolutionary music. I've seen the trailer. I think this movie looks awesome. Rotten Tomatoes media score, 43%, below average. Most critics didn't like it. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 94%. Not surprising. I'm sure his music is played throughout the movie. His music makes you feel good, makes you want to move around, makes everybody happy. Bob Marley, One Love. I mean, come on. That's a big movie. All right, I got one more for you here. This is called Madam Web. Madam Web is in theaters. It came out a couple days ago. It's rated PG-13. It's got violence and action and language. It stars Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. She is very pretty. And Celeste O'Connor and Isabella Merced. Here's what it's about. In a switch from typical drama, in a switch from the typical genre, Madam Web tells the standalone origin story of one of Marvel's publishing most enigmatic heroines. The suspense-driven thriller stars Dakota Johnson as Cassandra Webb, a paramedic in Manhattan who develops the power to see the future and realizes she can use that insight to change it. Forced to confront revelations about her past, she forges a relationship with young women bound for powerful destinies if they can all survive a deadly present. Madam Web, Rotten Tomatoes media score, a very low 14%. Critics hate it. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 54%. I'm going big movie. You know I'm going to see Madam Web. I think it looks cool. 54%. I'm not expecting too much from it, but that's telling you most of the audience likes it. I'm not looking for an Academy Award performance here. So you know what? Madam Web, I'm going big movie. And that right there is another edition of Big Movie or Not a Big Movie. All right. I'll tell you what's always big. That's when you get yourself that brand new car. You love showing it off to your friends, to your family. You also love getting the good deals when you're looking for a brand new car. So I got to send you to the only car dealership I endorse here on ZASLOW Show 2.0, official car dealership of the program, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. At North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, you get that promise to provide customers an exceptional experience at their brand new state-of-the-art facility on North Andrews Avenue. It's that beautiful building you can see from I-95 at the Cypress Creek Road exit. And this month of February, there's a lot to love at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Incredible offers on all new Subarus in stock, as well as every pre-owned vehicle on their lot. That's right. So whatever you're looking for, with an extensive new and pre-owned Subaru inventory, plus used cars, trucks, SUVs of every make and model, you're sure to find your next vehicle at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. And all new Subarus and most pre-owned vehicles, they come with a lifetime warranty, so you know that you're covered. And right now, at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, make zero down payment, make zero payments for 3 months, and make zero security deposit. NFLSubaru.com. Right now, you can shop from the comfort of your own home. NFLSubaru.com. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, the location you know with an experience you'll love.